All right, so we've got your next lesson coming at you today. Today is very exciting because we get to talk about some of my favorite stuff, which is geometry. Geometry is all about shapes. I love shapes. I like to draw things. Shapes really help me out with doing that. So we're going to focus on talking about some of the properties of shapes. What makes a shape, okay? So to do that, you're going to need a couple pages of our workbook. So I pulled these out for you. Come check these out. We're going to be looking at this little page. It says it's the red guitar and it says 103. You're going to need this page. It's 3D objects, sorting objects. We're also going to need this page. So it's the next page in your book. It's 105, little green guitar. And up here it says 3D objects, sorting objects as well. Sort and paste the pictures where they belong, and that is out of your student journal. You are going to need, as well as these two pages, you're going to need scissors to cut these out because we're going to be pasting these pictures over here somewhere for your lesson part at the end. You're going to be pasting it onto there. Or you can just put them down. If you don't have glue, it's no big deal. We're just going to put them in these three different categories once we get to it, okay? And that's the next page. You don't need to worry about that until the next lesson. We're just on these two. So today we're going to start our conversation about shapes, okay? You guys have been learning some shapes throughout the course of your early life. You've been talking about some shapes. If you've gone to preschool, you probably worked with some shapes. If you haven't been to preschool, you probably haven't worked with them that much, but that's okay. Today we're going to be talking about 3D shapes. 3D means that they have 3 dimensions or 3 different things that we can measure. So a 3D shape is something that you can hold in your hand. The difference between those is a flat shape, and a flat shape is something you can't really hold in your hand. You'd probably just look at. So I'm going to show you some of the flat shapes first. These are the ones that you kind of just look at. They're not really things that you hold in your hand, and then we'll start talking about their 3D cousins, okay? So my shapes are all up on my wall in my classroom, so I'm going to point them out to you. We're not going to look at all of the different shapes because we're not really going to talk about all the different shapes, the 3D shapes just yet. We're really going to be talking about things and if they have a curved surface or if they have a flat surface. So these are my flat shapes that I have up. I can't hold these in my hand because they would fall out, but I can look at them and talk about their different properties. So we've got our shapes up here. This one says rectangle. Rectangle is a flat shape that has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides to it. It's got 4 angles in it, which you'll get to angles as you go into math, so we're not really going to worry about it too much. But that's how you define a rectangle. It's got 4 sides, it's got 4 angles to it, and more often than not, 2 of the sides are longer than the other 2 sides, but not always. This one says triangle. Triangle has 3 sides to it and 3 angles. That's how we define a triangle. This is flat because I couldn't hold it in my hand. It would fall over. Square is a flat shape that has 4 sides and 4 angles. This is the same as a rectangle, except for all of these sides are the same length. So this is a special type of rectangle. Diamond, this is another flat shape that we can kind of talk about. This is a flat shape because it's just stuck on our wall. I couldn't hold it up. I couldn't move it with my little yardstick here. It's got 4 sides as well as the square or rectangle, but the angles are very different on a diamond. So we're going to skip some of these. We're not going to talk about our heart, our hexagon, our oval, pentagon, star. Here's another very popular one. We are going to talk about this one today. It's 3D cousin. This is a circle. Circle has 1 side and no angles. So there is just 1 continuous line going around. There's no angles. Really, angles is another kind of way of saying corners. So it doesn't have any corners on it. And I think circle might have 2 sides, but I'd have to check and get back to you. But that's not the most important part about this thing. We're just going to talk about the fact that these are flat, they're pictures on a wall, and then we're going to talk about some 3D cousins. Let's talk about lines. Come on over here, I'm going to show you some pictures. I'm going to draw some things for you. So we're talking about 3D things. They've got to be things that you can pick up. They've got to be things that you can hold in your hand for them to be 3-dimensional. And we're going to look today at things that have surfaces on them. What kind of surfaces do they have? Surface is kind of like your skin. Your skin is a surface that keeps all the rest of the stuff in your body in, okay? So we've got a bunch of stuff inside our body. If we put a little flashlight down our mouth and we put a hose through us with a camera, there'd be a whole bunch of stuff in there. Most of it's disgusting, but there's a whole bunch of stuff inside of us. Our surface that keeps all of that in is our skin. It's the farthest out stuff that you can touch. We can also hold it in our hand. It's 3D. You can think of a surface also like the ocean. The ocean has got a whole bunch of stuff. So here is the top of the ocean, okay? Sometimes there's waves up top. Most of the time there's waves up top. But underneath you have fish. You've got sharks. I don't know what this is. I'm going to pretend it's a shark. There's a shark. There's starfish down here. There's crazy things going on down underneath the surface of the ocean. The surface of the ocean is another way of talking about the top part, or the part that we can see. We can't see all the stuff underneath, but we can definitely see the surface of the ocean. So when we're talking about 3D objects, we like to think about our surfaces as either that's supposed to be flat. A flat surface is a straight line. There's not any wiggles on it like that. It's just straight across, okay? That's a flat surface. Sometimes you see this at the ocean when there's no wind. If there's no wind and there's no waves and the ocean is just flat, there's no bumps in it at all. That's what a flat surface is. But then there's also curved surfaces. And a curved surface is going to be something like that, okay? So when you see some waves going across the water, usually they're coming in curved surface waves. So that's a way to think about it. A lot of you have been to the ocean. I'm sure most of you have been to the ocean at this point. So we're going to be talking about flat surfaces and curved surfaces. Now, to do that, I'm just going to pull some random objects around my room and we'll kind of just look at them, okay? One of the first objects we're going to do is my little eraser here, okay? So we're going to look at it. It's got a bunch of different surfaces. Every single side that you see to it is a surface. So this one's got a ton. This one is a special kind of square or rectangle that we call a rectangular prism. A rectangular prism has got, you can put it on your desk and it won't fall over. You can hold it in your hand. And it's got a bunch of sides that are rectangles. So if you're looking at that flat on, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides to it. It's solid. And it's got 4 angles to it, so it's a rectangle. But since it is a solid thing and I can hold it, it's called a rectangular prism and not just a rectangle. So we're going to look at our surfaces here. Here's one of our surfaces. We're going to look at it and we're going to say, is that flat or is it curved? Well, this one in particular, we can kind of hold right up to this. Does it match this one, the flat surface? Or does it match this one, the curved surface? Rectangular prisms, because they have rectangles, all of these surfaces are flat. This one is 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 also flat. They're all flat. There's no curves to this particular prism. So if I wanted to sort this one, it doesn't magnetize like all my other things were, but I'm going to put it over here in my little table as flat. Okay, so my eraser is flat, it goes right under here. I'm gonna put curved right over here for all the stuff that we find that is curved. So, one of the things that we can find that's curved, that's real familiar for some of you, is a bouncy ball, okay? You look right at it. This is something that I can hold in my hand. It is not a flat drawing. It's not a flat shape. It does match our old friend, the circle. I don't need this. Here's a flat version of the circle, okay? But if I picked up a circle and I made it have all the different dimensions to it, well, it would become a ball. And a special word for a ball is sphere. So that's what we call a three-dimensional circle. We call it a sphere. It has one continuous line going all the way around, and it is no angles or no corners. Okay? That's how we get this thing to roll, because it doesn't have any corners on it. If it had corners on it, it wouldn't roll half as much as it does. So let's look at this one. Let's look at its surface. And we'll think about our flat versus curved, okay? So our flat versus curved, we can hold it up and we can kind of look at it. Does it match flat right across? Or does it match curved where it goes over? So if you're looking at this one, it definitely curves over. So this one would be said to have a curved surface. So I'm going to put it over here. It's not really going to stay underneath our curved length, so I'll put it all the way down here on the ground. I'll put the eraser down here on the ground as well. And then I need to find something in my room that has both. Sometimes things have both, but we don't know exactly what that is without looking around. So I'm going to look around right now and look for something that has a curved side and a flat side. I found it. Come on. This is another thing that everybody that lives in Hawaii has probably seen in their time. We have some beach buckets. Let's go over here with our lines so we can kind of compare them. So this is a three-dimensional object or 3D object. I'm holding it in my hand. It's not falling down, but it does have a shape that we are kind of familiar with. I'm going to put it right up here against my little board. Maybe you guys know this shape. Tracing it with my marker, kind of, trying. If I trace it, we have a circle. All right? So this one's kind of like our cousin of the circle. It's kind of like our friend the sphere in that it's got a big round part to it, but this one's a special one because it has a round surface right there. Round surface. It's got a round shape to it. But it's only curved here. It's only curved around this surface on the side. So here we get to see our curve goes right there. It would go around this curve. But if we look at this top part is flat. So we have a flat surface here, and we have a curved surface going around this one. Like I said, the surface is the outside. You can put anything inside. You could put water in here, you could put sand in it, but on this outside, this part that we can touch, that's the surface. So this one has a curved surface that goes around, and then if I touch this one, it's a straight line right across there. So it's a combination of both. So what you're going to do today is you're going to think about different objects, and you're going to classify them, okay? So classifying means that you're going to make them fit into our different things. I need to take a picture of these and cut some of them out. Well, never mind. I guess we can just kind of do this and show you guys. So over here we have our 2 pages that you've been working on, or you pulled out earlier, 7.5. These are all a bunch of different shapes. I want you guys to cut these out, and I want you to try to see if you can figure out where they might be. And we'll talk about a couple of these. Right over here, it says sort and paste the pictures where they belong. This one says all flat surfaces. This one says all curved surfaces. And this one says both flat and curved surfaces. So what I want you to do is I want you guys to give yourself a little picture to help you remember which one of these it is. So I'm going to show you what those pictures are, and then you can add them to your page. So this one says all flat surfaces. Flat is a straight line, okay? So you're looking for something up here that has all straight lines. This one says all curved surfaces. Curved is this word, so I'm going to make a little curve, or an upside down, or like a frown, I guess is kind of what I put there. So you can make a little curve there. That'll help you find the shapes over here. This one says both flat and curved surfaces. So for this one, I'm going to make a flat and a curve, because for our shapes in here, they're going to have both. Okay? So for these, we have a couple of these that we kind of did already. For our all curved surfaces, we found a ball. So we're going to cut this out. And we know that this ball is not going to have any corners on it. It's all curved surfaces. It's going to go in here. So this is your soccer ball. Okay? For our all flat surfaces, we looked at our eraser. Our eraser is kind of the exact same shape as a box. So another thing that I can show you guys is a tissue box. But not this one. This is the wrong tissue box. But I can show you this one. So here's our tissue box. It's got a flat surface here. It's got a flat surface here. Flat surface here. Flat surface here. Flat surface here. This thing is nothing but flat surfaces, and most boxes are. That's how boxes stand up. They don't roll over. So in our pictures here, we've got a picture of a tissue box, so we can cut that out and we can put that over here in our all flat surfaces box, okay? For the both flat and curved surfaces, this is something that has both a flat surface and a curved surface. I showed you guys the bucket. This thing right here is a flower pot. It has a round surface right here, or a little curve. And on the bottom of it, you can't see it from this picture, but it is going to be flat because flat surfaces help things stand up. So this one would be fitting over here in our both flat and curved surfaces, okay? So you're going to cut these out. You're going to put them in these three categories. See if you can figure out which ones are all flat, curved and flat. That's your work for today. Try it out. See how you feel about it. We're going to be talking about 3D objects for a while. Probably not in this grade, but for the rest of the grades that you have coming up, you'll be learning about them as well. More and more stuff about them. I think we have a couple more lessons that we'll be talking about them. But try your best on this. Take a picture of it, send it to your teacher, and we will continue that conversation. Have a good day.